Hello, everyone. Hello, everyone that has joined, and everybody that's going to join or that's going to watch it later. If you don't see, oh, oh, wait a minute. Okay. So, hello, everybody. Hello, everybody again. Technical difficulties in speech. So, if you did not see a thumbnail, we are going to be talking about Citi Bike Karen. Citi Bike Karen, and some new info that came out about the two young ladies that lost their lives. When was that? On the 12th. Yes. So Asia Davis lost her life on the 11th. On the 12th, it was Imani and Ja'diamond. So that's what we're going to talk about today. But let's go into the Citi Bike Karen. So obviously, I'm going to need that. Obviously, I think this story, it happened on the 15th, which was yesterday, but I guess it's getting traction now because it's going viral, and plus they have docs. I think that's what they call it. They have docs this lady. They have put out her information, because one thing about the internet get the they have detectives, and if they need to find you, they're gonna find you. So they found this lady that was doing all this. She was doing a lot. She was doing too much. So I think we're gonna play. Let me see if I can play the video on here, because this is a very informal live. So let me pull up the video on this phone. See if it will play. Locked. Hello? It's locked.
It's a fingerprint.
Oh. My fingerprint. Okay. It unlocked me. My fingerprint is on my daughter's phone. Wow. Yeah, I do. Okay. So let me pull out the video. Uh,
Please help me! Please help me! Help! Please get off!
excuse the language.
Help! Get off!
Why you took his phone? What's wrong with you? What's up with his phone?
I'm hurting my penis.
I'm not touching
Unborn child.
it. Dude, stop. Dude, stop. No. You're not crying. You're not crying. I got you. Wait, you put it out? Hassan, you put it out? Hassan, you put it out? This is my bike on my account. Alright, so why don't we reset the bike? I'm not resetting the bike. It's his. You're active. Stop fake crying. Stop fake crying. Stop touching me. I'm touching you. Hold up. Hey, stop touching me. Why don't we take this bike? Stop touching me.
I will.
So take it. Stop your baby gonna come out with time. Why you stop crying? Not a tear came down, miss. Not a tear came down.
So hopefully you were able to see that. Guess I was holding it wrong. Let's see.
Help! Help me! Please help me! Please help me!
Maybe this is
Please
better.
help me! Help! Please get off! Please get off! Help! Get off!
Why you took his phone? What's wrong with you?
I'm hurting my penis. Unborn child. Help!
Dude, stop. No.
Please help!
crying. They're not crying. I got something for you. Wait, you pulled it out? Hassan, you pulled it out? Hassan, you pulled it out? This is my bike, so my account. Alright, so why don't we reset the bike? I'm not resetting the bike. It's his. Reset it. You have to take it out of your account. You're an actor. Stop fake crying. Stop fake crying. Stop touching me. Hold up. Yeah, stop touching me. Why don't you take this bike? Stop touching me. I will. Just take it. So take it. How you stop crying?
So your baby gotta come out retarded. Oh Lord. Okay, so hopefully you were able to see that. Let me get out of here. Able to see that. So hopefully you were able to see that. If you weren't, it's all over Twitter. It's on Instagram. Sure, it's on Facebook. So it's on all those platforms. So I believe this incident happened yesterday, if not sometime between the 14th to the 15th. But it's like I said, it's gaining traction because it has gone viral because of the acts of this lady. And what is her name? They have her name. Her name is like Sarah something, and she works for Bellevue Hospital. So let's break down this video. As you can see, if you have ever rented out those bikes or those scooters, whenever the light is on, that means the person has paid for it. Just in case some people might say, oh, he probably didn't even pay for it. If the light is on, that means it was paid for. It actually was paid for. Because we used to do that all the time when they used to have those type of stuff. And so he had already paid for it. So all this back and forth that she is doing, wasting time in a sense, that's the time he was supposed to be using the bike. But he is going back and forth with this lady, just kind of, and then this is the thing, we don't know what happened before, but all we see is she's trying to get a bike that he said that he paid for. She didn't say that it was her bike, she paid for it. She wasn't saying that. She just said, oh, get off me, you're hurting my fetus and stuff like that. I mean, if you know you're pregnant, why are you doing all this with a bunch of teens? And then what really got me was when the other guy passed by. He had passed by first. Then you saw she was screaming because she's trying to get some people's attention. And then when the guy came over, you saw how her behavior like escalated, like how the way she was acting erratic, it escalated because that this guy came. Then she started crying and stuff like that. At first she was just saying help. Then when he came, then she started crying, oh my goodness, doing all kind of stuff. No tears. And then for the guy didn't even ask any questions, what was going on, what happened. So he's like, what's going on? Can y'all reset the bike? And they can't reset the bike. Maybe they could have canceled, but it had already charged him. I guess I already paid for it. It's already charged, put a hold on my account already. I'm already supposed to be using it. Why should I reset it just for this lady? And then most of the people will say, why he just didn't reset it. He could have just make it simple and just reset the thing up. But isn't that reinforcing her behavior? So if every time if this is a habit of hers, she's used to doing stuff like that, getting her own way, and then people just make excuses for her or whatever, that's reinforcing her behavior. So these young men was like, no, we are not. We are not going to reinforce your behavior. We pay for this, and we're going to use it. You're not going to use it. So it's amazing. And I guess sometimes people don't think their actions could have dire consequences. especially when you acting emotional. So imagine, you see, it was that man that passed by. They looked like they were wearing the same uniform. They might have worked in the same department, or he may have seen her in the hospital, and he's wondering what's going on. But suppose it was a police that came by, and you see how she was acting so crazy and erratic, screaming help, 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 help. Now the police trying to figure out what's going on, and then she's screaming help, help, help. She's saying all kind of stuff, and then back and forth, and then the boys them saying no, we didn't do nothing, we paid, and then chaos. And in this chaos, people could have gotten hurt, because we don't, when people emotional, when their emotions are times 10, times 20, times 100, you're not thinking that you're not thinking that your actions could have consequences. These young men could end up losing their lives because you, I don't know if that was because it seemed like all of the friends was getting bikes. That's what it looked like. So maybe that was the last bike. That was the last bike, and she probably wanted, she probably needed a bike to go home with. That's probably how she used transportation, because a lot of those, I've noticed a lot of, because she's a physician assistant. So when they are physician assistants and stuff like that, most of the time they try to, save money in a sense. So some of them, they have bikes, they ride bikes. Some of them, they ride the train. They try to save money as much as possible if they cannot afford a car in a sense. So it seemed like all of the bikes probably were, there was no bikes left. And that was the only one. He probably had just finished, paid for it. This is what I'm saying, because what from the video. So he probably was pulling it out, and then she was like, she probably thinking to herself, how am I going to get home? How am I going to get home? So in sense, that's entitlement. Entitlement came and was like, give me this bike. You're not going to get this bike, even though all of the other friends they already had their bikes, and they were about to leave. So she probably stopped him and was like, you're not getting this bike. I'm getting this bike because I probably needed more than you. That's what she's probably, this is what I'm assuming, because we don't really know what happened, because we don't know what happened before. We just, I guess in the moment, one of the friends decided to record, so we just know what was happening, but we don't know what happened before. But that's what it seemed like to me. Like she needed to get home. She looked like she probably needed to get home. That's the mode of transportation that she used to get home, and then she brings it back in the morning. That's probably what she does. And then that day, these young men decided in that area to get those bikes, and she was upset that wasn't going to happen. So anyway, and another angle, because I look at all angles, another angle, because I remember back in 2016, 2017, there's Citi Bikes. There are still Citi Bikes, but to I guess to follow what Citi Bike was doing, Lime. There was a company that's called Lime. Lime, I ain't doing no promotion for you, okay? I just happened to mention it because it's part of my story. This is not a promotion for Lime. So this is a company called Lime. They did scooters. They did scooters, and they did bikes that you could have rented out. And they no longer do bikes. And then they had continued to do the scooters, but I think up until, let's say, 2021, the scooters is out of commission. The only people that's in Miami, the only company that's doing scooters in Miami right now is Bird, and they are only in Coral Gables. Because long time used to have all the scooters in North Miami, used to have them by Bayside. That's no longer, because the kids destroy it. So this is the thing. So when they Lime used to have the bikes, this is, I'm saying this because this is what I know, because I talk to a lot of the young kids, and I I know certain stuff. So sometimes they would rent these bikes on, they would get a card. They could get a prepaid card or some type of card and stuff like that. Load the money and get the bikes and don't return it. They don't return it, and then when the company probably try to charge the card, it's not going to go through because it don't have any money, and it's probably like those prepaid Visa or MasterCard or whatever it may be. because I don't think they didn't know that they should have just did something in the sense that you can't use certain cars. So sometimes, I when the company first put out the bikes, there were bikes. I mean, they had bikes all over the place, and then little by little, the bikes started disappearing. Sometimes you would see the bike in the back of people's yard and stuff like that all the time, because you only get to keep it for 24 hours, but then you would pass every day and you see the bike in some of these kids backyard. And so they would take the company probably trying to charge his card, and it's not going through, so they took all these bikes. And then it's another way, sometimes they never even pay for it. They figured a way to unlock the bike. There's certain stuff that they did, and they would unlock the bike, and then they would take the bike. They never paid for it. Most recently, somebody's backyard. I was passing by. I saw one, because I guess, and I'm wondering why they didn't have a tracker on the bike too. But whatever. When you want to copy people, you don't think through how you're supposed to do certain stuff. I guess they didn't think through how to preserve their product, and it didn't end up thing. So I'm saying all this to say this: that could have been another factor. You kids are taking these bikes and you're not, supposedly not paying for it, because I have seen this happen. This may or may not be concerning to these young men, but this does happen. They have done this, and this is why there's no scooters or bikes nowhere in Miami except for Coral Gables, and the next place that they have them is Atlanta. And there's no more, because when, unfortunately, it was a lot of black kids. They would take the scooters. They would have one. I would see them, because me and my kids used to ride the scooters. We used to love to do that. We'd go out to eat, and then we'd ride scooters. Now we can't even do that no more, unless we're going to Coral Gables. And Coral Gables, yeah, Coral Gables ain't like other places in Miami. That's all I gonna say. So they would have one. There was just a lot of stuff that was going on. These companies didn't really think through, so they would get one license, one card, and then have all the scooters, and then they would be throwing it and slamming it. They would finish. They would finish ride it, and then they slamming it. They would destroy those people stuff. So that's another thing. So I'm always going to look at those angles also. That could be another thing that the person that caused her, though what she did was not right, because because there's a way, even though that's probably what a lot of the youths do, there's a way you could have talked to them to find out, what are they doing. There's a way. But you can tell that she probably had some type of implicit biases, and that's how she decided to deal with it in an emotional way, not in a logical way. Okay, hey, I don't know if these kids gonna bring this back. This is the way that I use to get back and forth from work. That's a way she could have talked to them. Even though, yeah, you heard some of them was saying they was cursing out, and they were saying all kind of stuff. But there are ways people act like teenagers. You can't talk to them. You have to come down to their level. You have to figure out a way to connect with them, and they'll talk to you. But she decided to do her emotional rant and lying in a sense, and fake crying, and could have caused these young men her life. But that's why I said that sometimes, most of the time, and it was a bunch of black kids, they do rent it out and stuff like that, and then they destroy it, and they do all kind of destruction to the scooters or the bikes. And then the company thinking, oh, this was the last ride, we're going to charge their card, and the card is no good. So we're going to look at that. And then I saw that people were comparing it to Emmett Till. And that's one of the reasons why I wanted to talk about this, is because today, me and Dee is my girl, we were watching the most recent movie of Emmett Till. It's called Till. I believe it came out in 2022. So we were watching, ironically watching that today, and then when I went on my phone, I saw that this was a trending story. This was a trending story, and I was like, oh, well, I'm gonna talk about this because I was just talking about Emmett Till, and then I saw somebody compared it to Emmett Till, in a sense. Though what happened to Emmett Till did not happen to these boys in how Emmett Till lost his life, but an accusation from a white woman on these teens, in a sense, how this white woman used her privilege, people would say, and could have gotten these young men taken out, just like in a sense Emmett Till, but still not compared, because we really can't compare. Nothing has come close to what happened to Emmett Till, because even when I watched that movie today, I mean, that was like, whew, that changed. I think that changed a lot of stuff in history. The fact that mommy decided to have that open casket in the show, I want the world to see what they did to my son. You can't come. That's not the same thing as this. This is not good for real, because this. Thank God, these young men are still alive. It could have turned another way, but what happened to Emmett Till, nothing can compare. Because I was a 14-year-old boy. He wanted to spend the summer with his mother, and then I don't know. And if they had other interviews with her, if they did. I need to go watch it too. But like in the movie, you can tell that she knew she wasn't supposed to send him. Like she had a bad feeling. She had a bad feeling. And then this is the thing I always say, your intuition, especially when you're a parent, as a mother, our intuition as women and as a mother is like up there. Other people, everybody else have intuition, but like as a mother, that's why if you feel certain stuff is you not it's not right in your spirit, you're not at peace with it, don't do it. Because you could tell in the movie that she knew something was gonna happen to him in when he left Mississippi. Emmett Till. Now we going on Emmett Till, because some people were comparing it, this what happened to these young boys to Emmett Till. And I was like, that's not the same at all. That's not the same. Period. This young man was tortured, and then come to find out where they found him in the Talakachi River, something like that. I can't pronounce the thing. Supposedly there were other young men found in that river also. You're not gonna hear about that. That's You're gonna have to dig real deep to find out. But supposedly they found other young boys. So this been happening to a lot of young boys. So yes, I can see the comparison, how it's similar. This white woman lying on these black boys, but what happened to Emmett Till and what happened to these young boys, that's not the same at all. So we really need to slow down. Don't get too emotionally riled up by these stories, because of course the story, you see this woman crying and acting a fool for a bike that's not even her. She see the light is on. I'm sure she has used that several times. She knows, if you have used these bikes and scooters or whatever before, once the light is on, that means the person has paid for it. It is unlocked for the person. For her to lie and act a fool, and the man just came in, didn't know what's going on, didn't even ask what's going on, and then trying to tell the boy, say, okay, just give it to her, just reset it so she get it. Why you can't talk to her and tell her, leave these boys alone? He should have just told her that, because the fact that she was so emotionally involved in this thing, she didn't think that you doing all of this. They already calling you. They already have Karens, acting erratic. You don't think this was gonna go viral, and it did. And before I forgot, another thing I don't understand, I don't know, with this Karen name. Okay, when it's a black person, when it's a black woman, they call you an angry black woman, right? There's no name for no black woman. But then when it comes to the blanc, then they are called Karens instead of what they are, instead of what their actions are, like a white woman that's a bully, a troublemaking white woman, a nosy white woman. That's what it should be called. But no, it's dubbed Karen. And I'm saying, like, what about the people that's called Karens? I know ever since that name, ever since this has gone, this is not only national but international. Everybody knows what a Karen is now. So imagine you whose name is Karen, you always have to be defending yourself when people ask you, "Are you a Karen? Do you act like a Karen?" So that I never understand that why. Okay, when it comes to black women, they say, "Oh, you're an angry black woman," but then when it's angry white woman, instead of she just being an angry white woman, they dubbed it as a Karen. I never understood that. Maybe it's me. But anyway, so thankfully, nothing happened to these young men. But they doxed this lady. The internet detective found out where she worked and her name and stuff like where she lived. Because they put the news pull up on her. The news pulled up on her, and then one of the ladies like, she live in my building. And then she had another neighbor. I guess that's the neighbor who's a friend or whatever. It's like he really thinks that they have taken this video out of proportion because she's supposedly not like that. But I did listen to Lovey T's commentary. She did bring up a point, and she said that this lady is a physician assistant, and the way she acted so entitled in a sense, like willing to lie and knowing well that suppose the police had pulled up, it could have been it wouldn't have turned out well for these young men. And for her to be a physician assistant, with physician assistant, sometimes is if the doctor is not available, you get to see the physician assistant. So if she have this, maybe it was just that moment because she was tired, she really needed to get home, she probably had did a double or whatever, maybe it was that moment. That's not how she really are. That could have been that. But then people are going to look and say, you are a physician assistant, have you discriminated against black people before? Have you they have told you they're feeling certain ways, they do it, and then you dismiss it because you think they lying or whatever. So I don't know, they might go try I wouldn't be surprised if people start coming out and say, yeah, she was my doctor and then I went to her, and so I wouldn't be surprised. So this thing ain't gonna finish. And then somebody posted that the hospital has a monthly meeting, and I think this is on the 27th. They're gonna have a monthly meeting on the 27th, so they could hear from the public how the staff interacts with the community. That meeting is gonna be full. If they have never had people, they're gonna have people this month, because people are gonna pull up. Yes, they will, because this has gone viral all over the place. Unless you don't be on social media or whatever, then you probably wouldn't know. But sometimes, even though you saw it, you hear what happened to these young boys with this lady did a doctor and stuff like that. But that meeting is gonna be full of people. It's gonna be full of people. So that's why be careful acting upon emotions. And it's easier said than done. Easier said than done. But like I've always said, whatever emotion you're feeling at that time, and you feel it so great, pause. Don't do nothing. Don't make no decisions, because you're gonna end up regretting it. Because you're gonna end up always making the worst decision. You're not gonna make the best decision at all. So be careful when you're doing certain decisions. That's the only thing you can learn from this lady. She already made her mistake. She went viral for this. Well, now she's gonna have to deal with the consequence. So now people are gonna be pulling up on her and stuff like that. Probably wait, because some people, that's what they do. Look at what they the lady, she had died, Carolyn Bryant Donaham. She died, but those people People who were doing research on the story, they found her. So imagine those people did research and then they found her. Imagine the people that were angry of what she was a part of. That lady never lived a day of peace in her life. Everywhere they go, because I think somebody's trying to get the family to tell their side of the story, and then because the guy was like I think the daughter-in-law said she almost didn't open the letter because they were getting so many hate letters. They always get that in the mail, hate letters. So from the time that happened to Emmett Till to 2001, to 2020, 2022, 2023, they've been getting hate letters in the mail. Those people have never known peace. Those people have never known peace because of one decision that they made, an emotional decision, and they end up paying for it. Just like this, what's gonna happen to this lady? She's gonna be all everywhere she's goes. This is gonna mark her for the rest of her life. That's why you have certain stuff. You might feel whatever you have biases, or you feel superior and stuff like that. Be careful doing certain stuff because you live in a social media time, and these things will always go viral for some reason. Always go viral. Like if I wanted to go viral, I know a lot of places where I could find some some blondes that be acting a fool, because some of them be acting a fool. Some of them very cool people. You chop it up, good friends and stuff like that. But some of them, yeah, they be doing too much. I mean, they always in somebody's business. Stuff don't have nothing to do with them. They all up in it. Ma'am, you don't have nothing to do. And it's we're not gonna get into that. But anyway, be careful doing certain stuff on emotions because you're gonna end up paying for that, and most of the time, sometimes you may end up paying for it for the rest of your life. Look at Karen. Every they had to change. I mean, when they put her in a nursing home, they had to put her under like a fake name. People still found her, and then now she's no longer here. I hope they planning on burning her off because people would find people are so upset about what happened to that young man, even though that was years ago. I don't need to say what they'll do, but you know they could do some stuff. So I think that's all I need to say because I already talked about that for like 30 something minutes. So we're gonna jump into Ja'diamond. I had did a story. I did a video about these young ladies, Ja'diamond Jones and Imani Williams. Both of them were 20 years old. Both of them were friends. Both of them were 20 years old. Both of them were friends. And they had went out to celebrate. They had went out to celebrate. First of all, they had went out to celebrate. Ja'diamond had just, some people say, some places said she passed the nursing exam or she was graduating from nursing. But anyway, she was graduating from nursing. That's what we know. And her graduation was supposed to be tomorrow. No, today. It was supposed to be today. Yeah, it was supposed to be today. Today's Tuesday. So it was supposed to be today, so they wanted to celebrate. And then Imani's birthday was either that day or probably a few days before. So that's why they were celebrating. I thought they, shots, when the thing happened, it was inside that it happened. So I was wondering, they probably got in an altercation with somebody, but that's not how it happened. So they have, they obtained surveillance videos when you saw Imani. You saw Ja'diamond, because that's when Ja'diamond, I didn't know how Imani looked at the time, but of course she's with them. But you could clearly see Ja'diamond. She had that long, curly, like blondish hair. And they were coming out of the launch. As they were coming out of the launch, it was like 4 women, and I think it looked like 2 young men that were with them. While they were coming out, you see this somebody in the corner, like behind a garbage, crouching, waiting for them. And then as soon as they was like in the road, I guess they were crossing to go to go to their car. The person just let out bullets, and then people. It looked like one person dropped down, but a lot of them looked like they were running all over the place, which is not a good thing to do. because unless you have identified where the person is coming, you don't know where the shots are coming from. It's best to drop down and pretend like you're no longer here. That's your safe bet instead of just running all over the place. That's just FYI. So this guy, whoever that is, guy, I don't know what it is, a woman, because you never know, crouch and then wait for them. He was waiting for them because there was people that came out. He didn't attack them. He waited for them. So that's why now I could understand probably in why Cantrell said what she said. These acts are not random. Why she said these acts are not random, and then she added, "Oh, we need to acknowledge that women do play a part in violent acts and things." That's what she should have be very, because this is a very sensitive thing that happened to these young ladies. I mean, these young ladies had all their lives ahead of them. Ja'diamond had a son. They had the whole world ahead of them, and then you have to be very careful as a leader what you say with your mouth. I know she probably know what's going on because they're still investigating. As the mayor, they probably gave her some information, some a little bit of stuff, but she really can't say exactly because she don't want them to cut off that, hey mayor, you talk too much, we're not going to tell you anything. So she wanted everybody to know that it's not random. So it looked like it was either a hit or one of those people in the group, because it was the 4 girls and the 2 boys. One of those people in the group had something with that person who was crouching, or something with whoever sent that person who was crouching and shoot them. So yeah, it looked like it was a targeted thing. But where she's catching fire was when she said that women play a role, and then women play a role in violent acts in what happened in the city, and did not elaborate. When you say stuff like that, you have to explain. Because now people saying, oh, so she went to school to do nursing, she went to go celebrate, and then now it's her fault why she got. You can't say that. You have to be very careful, and if you're going to say something like that, elaborate. She just spewing stuff, blah, 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 and then she rushing answering question, and then the guy who was with her, he trying to cut it off. Okay, that's enough questions. But you leave this open, gaping hole that you put up there of the words that you said, which was very wrong. What she said was very, because and then she did not elaborate. She did not explain why she said that. Yes, you could say, I just want you guys to know that what happened to these 3 young ladies, it didn't seem random from what I'm hearing, from what I'm seeing, and then leave it like that. But then she had to put more on it. Oh, we have to acknowledge that women do play a thing. So now when I look at the video, I was like, oh yeah, she should have elaborated. And like I said in the video, she did not elaborate. She did not explain. And this is why a lot of people are upset with her. So it seemed like, and then people were bringing up all type of receipts, like something that happened to one lady, and then she instead of standing up with the lady's family, she went with the guy that did the act to the lady. So a lot of people tired of her anyway. But that's why you have to be careful who you vote for. Vote in these spaces. So they have that on video where whoever that is, I don't know if they even want to catch this person. Because I remember I did a story not too long ago about this girl. They have the guy right there. His face, you see how my face is on the camera? His face clearly on the thing. They still, till this day, they haven't found this guy. And I think that happened to this young lady, what, in 2020? It was 2020. They still ain't found this guy. His face right on the camera. This one was in the corner in the dark, crouching, and waited for them to come. And then as soon as they came out, he started, all you see is shots fired. Shots fired. And then this is the thing. It may not have been Ja'diamond or Imani's nothing to do with that. It may have been somebody in there. And sometimes it may have been mistaken identity. Sometimes we will never know. That's why in the time that you're living in, you have to be very, very careful who you hang out with, where you go. because it's like this, like I said, it's like an evil roaming around seeking whom it may take out, and it's looking for people who are lives of the party, people who have successful futures, people who are the light of their family, is looking for goodness. That's why you have to be very careful. You have to guard yourself. You have to listen to your intuition. If your intuition, if you're not at peace with going someplace, even though it's like an opportunity of the lifetime, sit your behind someplace. Sometimes you need to sit your behind someplace. You looking, you can't find your keys. You something is it's all kind of stuff going on. Sometimes that's just an indication telling you, sit down, don't go nowhere. But then we push through and we still go, and then sometimes everything works out, and then sometimes it doesn't. You may not end up losing your life, but then you end up being frustrated. How you thought the thing was gonna be, it wasn't even like that. I shouldn't have even come. I knew I shouldn't have come. That's why I felt this way. But we don't listen. We don't listen to our intuition. We have to do that because there's this evil around, and it's evil around taking out a lot of women too. That's another thing. So that's all I had to say on Citi Bike Karen. Oh, before I finish, one person who was happy of what happened in the Citi Bike, because I bet you all kind of people are going to want to rent their bikes now. So when stuff like this happen concerning a company, it's either their shares go up or their products sell out. We know that. So Citi Bike is happy, and Citi Bike, I ain't making no promotion for you. I just had to mention your name. So anyway, that's all I had to say on this situation. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in another video. Bye.